don't have enough resources to then buy inventory and cover business until the business pick up. So those are some of the things that we've seen over time. The last thing they do, they start their retirement planning at a late age. Do you realize there are some individuals in our community at retirement, this is when they're going to start to pay off their student loans. They've worked 15, 20, 30 years, and now is the time to use their retirement to pay their student loans. But it's not just a one-time occasion. It occurs frequently. So, where do we teach financial literacy? And the reason why I asked where we learned about our checking accounts and where we learned how to manage our 401k, it's still not taught anywhere. I researched it, and I've not found any university to this day where it's taught not only just in the business school, but across the board. Why wouldn't someone in the English department not want to learn how to manage money? Why would some of our athletes, they make money, but they don't keep it? So it's not a matter of how much you make, it's what you do with it. And my mission is to start the process of building financial literacy. Bold move number 2. You have to start by paying yourself first. You gotta have a budget. We pay for the phone and light. We pay the telephone bill. We go shopping. But when it's done, what do you have left? So in my process, it's different. We start with paying yourself, just saving it. So my ideal model is to start with teaching people how to save, and this is how you do it. If you're currently not saving, whatever increases that you make, you save 50% of your increases until you get to 10%. So if you received a raise of, say, 2%, you save 1. If you receive a raise of 4%, you save 2. And if you do it over time, in the space of over a 3 to 5 year period, you're saving 10%. But now that you've seen that you can do this, then as your income, as your job changes, and you start making more money, you get to the point where you start to save 20 to 30% of your income. See, the hardest million to achieve is the first. But if you had $1 million saved and it earned 10%, you just made $100,000 without doing anything. So the hardest million is just the first one. But once you have the first one, the second and third is easy to duplicate. The next bold move, you have to start with creating your own bank. How many people anticipate when the car is going to break down? If you were going to take a vacation, and the vacation was, say, $2,400, if you save $200 a month, would you have the money available so that when it's time to take a vacation, you just transfer it from savings to checking, and you take your trip? But if you were saving for a vacation, and it was $200 a month, now you can't afford to take a trip that was $3,600 because you had already saved only for $2,400. So where did the difference come from? The difference goes on a credit card. The next bold move, you must learn how to use credit wisely. Where did you learn how to use your first credit card? Was it a big promotion that you received and said, sign me up? For my daughter, they said they gave her pizza. The fortunate thing is, it came to the house. Wait a minute, why did you sign up for this credit card? I remember a story where there was a young man that was mentored by someone. He went through from middle school to high school, through college. And when this young man graduated, he had an opportunity to get a position at a very prestigious firm. But he couldn't get the position because he failed the credit background check. Kids don't realize that just because you get a credit card and you don't pay it, don't worry about it. Now, a lot of companies, they use credit check as a part of character check. Many times they don't associate the two. But in our industry, in the financial services business, we've come across a lot of people that are very talented, but if they don't pass that credit background check, and for example, the NFL Players Association, you have to do an FBI check. Matter of fact, they go back to your high school transcripts. So you can see your credibility is key. You must also learn how to use credit wisely. So this is the cost of using credit. Let's suppose you purchase something for $1 and the credit card rate is 20 cents. For every dollar that you carry on that credit card, it costs you $1.20. If you're in the income bracket of, say, you earn $1, and in this particular example, you're in the 25% tax bracket, you take home 75 cents. To determine what it costs you for each dollar you carry on a credit card, you take the total cost, you divide it by your after-tax income. It costs you $1.60 for every dollar you carried on a balance if you were in the 25% tax bracket. So if you knew something was going to cost, you have to now work $1.60 to pay back every dollar. Now you see the big reason why you have to create your own bank. By creating your own bank, you borrow from yourself, and it doesn't cost you that much. The next big bold move, you must learn how to invest. Your money competes against two things. It's called taxes and inflation. And I'm going to give you my modern day version of this. My first job in the financial services industry was at Chase Federal Bank on Miami Beach, 1984. Who used to live on Miami Beach? A lot of retirees. We had to give them toasters. And then when we had to open an account. So when we said, will you diversify? They said, yes. I have $100,000 at every bank on the strip. And there were a lot of banks on Miami Beach. But what happened was, the young people who lived in Fort Lauderdale, they would go to South Beach on the weekends. And then they said, you know what? Instead of doing that long haul driving back and forth on I-95, let's start buying some of the condos in South Beach. So then, the European model started to take photo shoots on South Beach. And it started showing up in magazines. And then the young people said, why not live on South Beach? So they started to buy the condos. And then the seniors then moved to Hallandale. Then they moved to Port St. Lucie. Now they're moving to North Carolina and Georgia. That's our modern day version of inflation. So you must invest to match your time horizons. So let me just break it down. There are two various time horizons that you need to look at. Short-term and long-term. I consider short-term time horizons of 2 years or less. So if someone would approach me and they wanted to invest funds, I said, when do you need it? If it's less than 2 years, it should be in a bank. It should be in a CD. It shouldn't be anywhere where we can't predict what the market's going to do. But in a period of 2 years or more, it has to outpace taxes and inflation. So it's simple. If you live in South Florida, inflation is approximately 3 to 3.5%. And then if you add, say, 1% for taxes on top of that, if it's not earning 4.5%, even though you're not spending it, you're losing money. So the best thing to do is you got to have a balance between the two. On the investments that are more long-term, you can either have stocks or you can invest them in mutual funds. This chart is a chart that professionals in our business use. It says this is what the market has done since 1926 till 2008. Small company stocks do approximately 11.7. Large company stocks do about 9.6. Long-term bonds do 5.7.